I'm Kristen Hullum, Kristen. Hullum is Hullum. I am a nurse and I'm the St. David's Trauma Injury Prevention Coordinator at St. David's Round Rock Medical Center.
Perfect. Thank you. And it is bluebonnet season. I'm sure a lot of people driving on the highways have already seen them sprout up. They're so pretty, but unfortunately, when you pull over, want to take pictures with them, there can be some danger in that involving snakes. Can you talk a little bit about the message that you would have for the public involving these bluebonnets?
Yeah, so anytime spring is coming, that also means the snakes are coming out. And so people tend to encounter snakes when they're in the bluebonnets because that's their home. They like to be in these grassy little areas. And so when you're going to take pictures in the bluebonnets, it's best to have an adult kind of venture ahead of the kids and maybe with a stick and kind of just make some noise and whack around a little bit and make sure that that there are no snakes in the area before you set your children down. But snakes can be hiding anywhere this time of year, in your backyard or along trails or certainly in the bluebonnets.
Yeah. And that was my first question I was going to ask, as far as for parents or for the adults, if there's anything that they should carry with them or have on hand just in order to prevent this. As you said, as far as like maybe a stick or something like that.
Yeah, there's unfortunately nothing that you can really carry that's going to, prevent a snake bite, except to know where the snakes are hiding, and to be sure that you've kind of looked through the heavy brush carefully. And so in that sense, maybe a stick would help. But you want to know where snakes like to live, and they like to be hiding in the tall grasses, hiding in bushes. They like to be under things like maybe under a shed or under firewood piles, kind of curled up behind rocks. And so teach your children that these are the places where snakes like to be so that they can avoid them and not get too close in case there is a venomous snake there.
Yeah. And if there was a venomous snake, or if someone were to be bitten by a snake, what are the steps that follow after that?
Well, it's not too hard. It's actually pretty simple, which is to just try to stay calm and still and have the help come to you. And so, it used to be a long time ago, we kind of had, we thought there were some tricks that you should be doing, but we do not do that stuff anymore. We do not suck out the venom. We do not place a tourniquet around the extremity. What you want to do is try to keep your heart rate as low as possible by staying calm and relatively still. Because the faster your heart rate is, the faster the venom will circulate around your body. And so if we can keep you calm and still and in the same place, assuming there's some distance now between you and the snake, then let the help come to you and transport you out to the hospital.
Okay, so that's good to know. So all these like at-home remedies or other things, don't do that.
The only thing that you can do would be if it's accessible, easily accessible, is you can wash the site with soap and water and you can put a dry bandage on it. But if that is something that you would have to take the patient to, then it would be best to not do it.
Got it. During this time of the year, just in your professional experience, is this when you start to see more like an uptick in people coming in with snake bites?
Yeah, definitely. Emergency rooms all over the state of Texas for sure begin to see more snake bites about this time of the year. And so it's a good thing that we're talking about this because prevention is really the key to this whole thing. So if we can wear long pants, things like boots, when you're out in an environment where there could be snakes, because if a snake bites you through pants or your shoe, they either won't get to the skin, or it's much more likely that even if the fangs barely puncture the skin, that it would be what we call a dry bite. So the venom is not able to be injected into the patient. So pants, closed shoes are good. Knowing where they live, and in your home, making sure that you haven't created an environment that is inviting to snakes. They like, again, to hide under places. They need a food source. So if you believe that you have a rodent issue, then it would be best to get rid of those so that the snakes are not, there to have a meal. So there are some common symptoms that somebody might experience if they were bitten by a snake, and those are things like dizziness, blurred vision. They might have a little bit of labored breathing. And the big thing is some serious pain and swelling at the site of the bite. And so if you do have any type of restrictive clothing or jewelry in that area, you'll want to remove that so that as the area begins to swell, it doesn't constrict that.
Okay, great. And anyone who is experiencing those symptoms, the best thing they can do, go to the hospital for that, go see a doctor,
Yes.
correct?
Yes, absolutely. Get to the emergency room because we need to be able to assess if it was a venomous snake and monitor your labs and your vital signs and give you anti-venom if that is appropriate for you. And anti-venom can really reduce the severity of the bite.